Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Alpa Sharma, and I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to everybody in the app and on YouTube as well. Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear and see me clearly, everyone? Good afternoon, Vishal. Am I clearly visible and audible? Good afternoon, Moviz, Shivaji. Yes, clearly visible and audible. I'm absolutely good, everyone. And I hope all of you are doing really great. This is our second class in the series of reading comprehensions that we had practiced yesterday. So I hope you had seen the previous class. I hope you had seen yesterday's video. I hope you have learned things of how to approach a reading comprehension. We'll revise all that a bit. We'll also look into, we'll solve two reading comprehensions today rather instead of one like we did yesterday. We're going to solve two, and through solving these two reading comprehensions, we would identify a few things that can be used by us to increase our accuracy and our speed in the reading comprehensions. All right. So, Nimish in the app, I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to you as well. Okay, guys, I'll take you through a few things before I start off with the session. But then I might take you through these things. Why don't you quickly subscribe to the channel and share my video and tell everybody else that my session is live and ask them to join in at the earliest. So, we've got our Republic Day tomorrow, the 72nd Republic Day, right? Where our Constitution came into existence. And to celebrate that, we are offering you a flat 25% off on all our online classroom programs and our mock tests. So this is right now the best time to enroll yourself for all the programs that we're providing you with, because you've got flat 25% off. Remember the code NATION25. Now, what programs do we offer you? One, we've got a free series that goes on every day at 12:30. Okay, I don't look like myself in the picture, but it's okay. 12:30 Monday to Friday, I take classes on critical reasoning, grammar, reading comprehensions, vocabulary, English and critical reasoning precisely. So make sure you come live every single day on 12:30, barring tomorrow. I'll tell you why. So these are free sessions. Apart from that, if you're targeting CUCET for 2022 target year, we've got a champion course that we've launched to prepare you for this examination. Remember, 25% off. So the best time to enroll for this program is now. Rush up and do it at the earliest. If you're targeting NPAT, ICT, GGS, IPU, CRISE, and St. Xavier's examinations, all these BBA entrance examinations, we've got a BBA ranker course for 22 target year. The batch started on to 14th of January. So if you are late, you're going to miss out on the important classes. Do not be late. Get into the batch right away if these BB entrance exams are your target. If you are targeting IPMAT and DUJAT specifically and not other BB entrance examinations, rather the 5-year integrated programs, then we've got batch 3 of a score booster course preparing you for these two examinations specifically. The classes had already started on 18th of January. Rush up, speak to our counselors, know more about the program and enroll yourself at the earliest. Remember, 25% off on all our programs. You know all our star faculties, Rohit ma'am, Rabia ma'am, Salik sir, you've got Vinod sir and Ankur sir as well. So best of the industry right here in front of you. What are you waiting for? Delhi enroll kar lo. Good afternoon everyone who's joined me now, and good afternoon Tarun and Nimish as well in the app. And if there's anybody else, good afternoon to all of you. Okay guys, now let's quickly revise what we had done in yesterday's class. Do you remember what were the techniques we learned? What were the pointers that we understood that we need to use while we solve a reading comprehension? Do you remember them? Can you help me revise them quickly, everybody? Whether there are more people joining, let's quickly go through the revision of yesterday's class, and then I'm going to bring you two very small reading comprehensions like yesterday, only one paragraph, but 5 questions each from each reading comprehension. I'm absolutely good, everyone. Thank you so much for asking. Okay, so what did we do yesterday? Yes, so good vocabulary is point number 1. Let me write this down for you. We need to have good vocab to make our understanding of reading comprehension better. Yes, we need to learn how to read between the lines. Okay. 3, we need to read the author's opinion. These are the most important lines. Author's opinion, exactly. And always, while you're reading a passage, always try to identify the main idea. Absolutely, yes. Author's opinion and the main idea of the passage. Exactly. Now, when I say reading between the lines, I have some new people today who might not know what that is. Reading between the lines is, if this is written, what else could this line mean? If you identify what else could it mean, and when you read from the perspective of the question setter, the examiner, when you read it like that, identifying the implicit statements, the meaning of certain words, the implied meaning, the contextual meaning, all of that becomes very, very easy. So we're going to read like an examiner, remember that. And always remember the lines that are the author's opinions or the lines that express the author's argument are supreme for us. Arguments and conclusion, these two things are supremely important for us. So in today's passage, we'll focus predominantly on two things, okay? One, we will try to identify what is the author's argument. And two, we will try to identify, if at all, is there a conclusion made by the author. We're going to work on these two. So argument would precisely be his opinion that he's trying to express through a lot of explanation. But what is his opinion? What is that he believes in? That he's trying to express. We're going to find that out. And is there a conclusion? If yes, what is the conclusion? Because ultimately, these two frame the foundation of your question. That is exactly where questions would be framed. Your passage will be dependent on these things. Everything else will be data and explanation, and they would be useless for us. Okay? So these are the two things we're going to focus on today, everyone. Okay? So, good to go, everybody. Also, I'll be teaching you a few things that will help you to read faster. We'll understand that as well. Okay, now let me give you one passage, okay? And after solving one passage, there are going to be two important announcements that I'm going to make. One announcement about the remaining week and the other announcement about the next week. Okay, so we're going to talk a little after the first passage is done. After the talking, we'll solve the second passage. Can we start, everybody? Can we start with our first passage? One small paragraph and then 5 questions that follow. Okay, read carefully. Okay, so here we go. मैं विनोद सर की और अंकुर सर की पीपीटी हमेशा हाईजैक कर लेती हूँ. Thank you for being so accommodating, both of you. Here you go. Give it a good read. Read between the lines. Identify the argument. Let me write this down here and identify the conclusion. Did I not, Hemendra? I'll see you in the class then, okay? At 5, I'll answer to your question there. Send me a done when you're done. Done? Cool. I'll not discuss anything right now. Let's look at the first question, okay? And tell me what the answer should be. And then we'll discuss the passage. What do you think is the answer here? D, okay. D, unanimously D. In the app, what's the answer? Manas, Tanu, Tarun, Nimish? C. अब देखो सबसे पहला पॉइंटर, somebody told me मैं पैसेज फिर से दिखा दूं, क्यों? एक पैराग्राफ था, I gave you enough time. Should you not read something that's implicit within the time period that's given to you in the passage? If there's a need to refer back to the passage for something that's implicit, that means you did not read the passage carefully at one go. And when you read it twice, you take double the time. Can you afford to take double the time for each question? You cannot. Speed reading, remember guys, comes with reading time bound and only once. You have to read the passage in a manner that you get the whole idea at one go. When you read it twice, you waste double the time, which is unnecessary. Okay, now let's go back to the passage. Okay, let's understand. What is the argument that the author puts here in the passage according to you? What is the argument that the author is putting across in this passage? Let's understand that, okay? And then let's move on. What is the argument? A, C, D, B. I have all four options as the answer. What is the argument? Who's going to tell me quickly? Whales present such a picture of massiveness and power that you would never imagine that they could be threatened by something as puny as a human. But once a year, the International Whaling Commission meets to decide whether they can be hunted again or not. So this line will give you the answer, right? But we're going to talk about that later on. What's the argument here? What's the argument, my children? What is the argument here? What is the author trying to say? Something that he believes in. Nobody? How big the animal be? Humans have tendency to enslave and kill them? Yes, wisdom. Yes. Whether whales could be hunted or not? No, technically, Rahul, that's a debate. But here, the author considers humans. Wisdom cyclone, your opinion, the argument that you've put across is absolutely correct. Okay, so the argument that the author is putting is that humans, even if they're too tiny in front of the whale, still kill whales. And because there was so much of killing happening, this whole moratorium, the commercial whaling moratorium, came into existence because it could not go on forever. We just could not kill anything we wanted, because otherwise the things would be extinct, like so many animals and birds are, right? So that's such, exactly, Movies, that such a powerful animal could be hunted. Do humans have the right to kill whales? Yes. That's exactly what is analyzing. So this whole moratorium came into the existence in 1986 because before that, whales were being killed at the disposal of humans. But that could not go on and on forever, right? To control that, this moratorium was built. Now, this International Whaling Commission, what is the purpose of this International Whaling Commission? They meet to decide that, okay, now if there is no danger on the species, can we start hunting them again? Can we start killing them again? So the discussion was, okay, if they are safe, we can kill them ample. That was the purpose of the discussion of that were happening in the International Whaling Commission. Okay, so Anushka says, threat to the giant whales from human beings, that there is threat that their hunting can start again. Yes, exactly, Anushka, exactly. That's the point. Humans can be puny, but they have tendency to kill whales. Yes, that is the author's opinion. Remember the argument that the author is putting across. Now come back to the question that says, what was the condition of the whales before this whaling commission was set up? The entire moratorium was set up to put a restriction on the killing of whales. Why would somebody put a restriction on killing of whales if they were not killed? They were obviously killed indiscriminately, without any thought. And this thoughtless killing needed to be stopped. To stopping that indiscriminate killing, the entire International Whaling Commission was set up. And every year they would sit and see, okay, now if this indiscriminate killing has stopped, the whales are not endangered now. If they're not endangered, can we start killing them again? So this is D. C is a very close option though. The answer here is D. The C is a very close option where whales were treated as near extinct species, but they were not treated near extinct before the Whale Commission was set up. If they were treated as near extinct, they would be protected. And if they were already protected, what was the purpose of this Whaling Commission then? This Whaling Commission was set up because before that, they were not worshipped, they were not treated well, and they were not protected. They were killed indiscriminately. And to stop this indiscriminate killing, this International Whaling Commission was set up. The answer has to be D here. Cool, everybody? Let's move to the next question. Okay, same passage. Next question. Do you remember the data? I'll tell you what to do. Do you remember the data? Don't forward my video and check it, but just tell me, do you remember the data? Yes or no? Should you remember the data? Yes or no? Yes, but you know what? I'll give you a little piece of my mind. When something of this sort comes in the examination, don't be reluctant in getting back to the passage and reaffirm your answer. While I read it, while I was solving this passage, I did not remember the data. Does it matter? No. How many seconds would it take to find the answer? 2. I'll go back, I'll confirm the answer, I'll come back to the passage. So remember, referring back to the passage for inferential questions, main idea questions, tone questions, not allowed. Because for that, you'll have to reread the whole passage. For confirming the data, confirming certain numbers like these, you know exactly, just merely looking at the passage, you can locate this data, go back, confirm your answer and mark again. So you are permitted to go back to the passage for factual answers. Okay? So yes, while you are skimming, you might omit such data. That's exactly what skimming does. So you'll be omitting the data. But if there are factual questions, you always go back to the passage and mark the answers. And there comes another question into the scene. Ma'am, should I be reading the questions before the passage or not? What do you do? Do you read the passage before or the questions before? What do you do? Questions before or the passage before? Because the answer here for this question, by the way, is C, which most of you guessed right? Like this one. So, should you be reading the questions before the passage? Or the passage before the questions? Questions before, yes. Simple answer is like this. I know how am I supposed to read the passage. If all the questions are exactly like this, I would not even read the passage like we used to do it in our school exams. I would know what am I supposed to look for in the passage. If all the questions are inferential, I know I have to read it tamiz se. I have to read it thoroughly. I can't leave information. I can't leave inferences. Okay, so my way of reading, always questions before, because through that I know exactly how am I supposed to analyze the passage. What is the difficulty level of the questions? Am I comfortable with the passage and the questions or not? So reading the questions gives us an insight into that. I would prefer that, but if it does not work with you, because a lot of people spend a lot of time reading options and then you get confused, don't do that if it does not work for you. For most of the people, it will work. Okay? So it's completely dependent on you. Let's come to the next question, everyone. Easy. What's the answer here? Did you find out an error in the question? Exactly, तरुण, मोस्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस ऐसे नहीं होते हैं, लेकिन अगर दो क्वेश्चंस ऐसे हैं और मेरे दिमाग में वो डेटा है कि मुझे ये क्वेश्चंस ढूंढने हैं, तो मैं पैसेज में जाके उनको कंफर्म कर सकती हूँ ना, राइट? तो मुझे एटलीस्ट पैसेज पढ़ते हुए ये ध्यान रहेगा कि मुझे इस वर्ड का मीनिंग ढूंढना है, ये वर्ड कहाँ है, अगर हाईलाइटेड नहीं है तो मुझे पढ़ते हुए ध्यान रखना है उस वर्ड के बारे में। इसीलिए क्वेश्चंस पहले पढ़ना एटलीस्ट मुझे हेल्प करता है, बट इफ इट डज नॉट हेल्प यू, यू कैन गो द अदर वे अराउंड एज वेल। Did you find out an error in the question? अब देखो, आंसर तो सर्टेनली इसका डी है, लेकिन यहां एक एरर है। एरर दिखा किसी को? आंसर इज डी, but there's an error here. Did anyone identify the error? Human beings, though small, are not threatened by whales. Yeah, whales are threatened by humans. एरर दिखा? अगर एक ऑप्शन होता नन ऑफ द अबव, क्या चूज करते? What would you choose? Quickly, what would you choose? उल्टा होना चाहिए. Exactly. So, man's greed does not make him small. It's the size that we're referring to. It should have been none of the above. Yes, it would have been none of the above. Now, I'll show you why are the other options wrong. Man's greed makes him small. देखो, जब आप एक पिक्चर देखते हो शार्क के, एक व्हेल की, आप उसकी मैसिवनेस की बात करते हो, उसकी शेप और साइज की बात कर रहे हो, ठीक है? और वो मैसिवनेस सिमिलरली ह्यूमन के साइज से कंपेयर हो रहा है, और ऐसा लगता है इतना छोटा क्रीचर इतने बड़े क्रीचर को मार सकता है। अगर आप यू गो बैक टू द टाइम्स व्हेन दे वर डायनासोरस, the smaller ones would be killed by the bigger ones, but यहाँ उल्टा हो रहा है, obviously because of the evolution that has happened, जो कि humans के साथ तो बहुत ज्यादा हो गया, but whales के साथ नहीं हुआ. So when you say man's greed makes him small, it's too much of thinking that you're doing. It's not his greed, it's technically the size that the passage is referred to. Okay, so the size of the whales and the size of humans, and that's why this cannot be our answer. Man is the whale's enemy. It's not about the size here, because this line refers to the size. Okay, thus our answer has to be D here. Next question, everyone. There's a permanent tension between, what's the answer? What's the answer? Quickly. Another factual question though. Exactly, yes. Dreaded by its massiveness and robustness. Yes, the answer here is absolutely C. Correct. Most of you guys guessed it right. There's a permanent tension between people. देखो, ये मीटिंग हर साल होती थी. Get back to the passage. ये मीटिंग हर साल होती थी, और क्यों होती थी? That now can we start hunting them again? अब तो वो प्रोटेक्ट हो गए, अब तो endangered नहीं है, अब हंटिंग कर सकते हैं. तो बार बार डिबेट होती रहती थी, ठीक है? That some people who believe that they have an inherent right to live, and other people who believe they have an inherent right to kill. So technically the debate was between people who wanted to kill whales and the other people who wanted to protect them. और हर साल वो डिबेट होती थी कि अगर endangered list से हट गए तो चलो killing start कर देते हैं. So the answer here is C. Fisherman का कोई mention नहीं है. Animal right activist हो सकते हैं, लेकिन दूसरे लोग जो whales को kill करना चाहते हैं, and not fishermen necessarily. Okay, thus that is what it means. Okay, so last question. What's the answer? Last question of this passage. Then I'll show you a trickier one. What's the answer? Exactly, Mobiz, you're right. क्या होगा आंसर? Massiveness and power. Simple synonyms. So basically for reading comprehension जो passage में दिया है या बात कर रहा है वही हमें कंसिडर करना है without thinking personally. No, Shruti. अगर author, be very careful, understand this carefully everyone. If the author expresses an implied meaning, तब तो मुझे implied meaning निकालना है इसका. अब यहाँ मैसिव और पावर उसके साइज को उसके स्ट्रेंथ के साथ कंपेयर कर रहा है और ऐसा लगता है कि क्योंकि उसका साइज भी बड़ा और वो बहुत पावरफुल भी है तो क्या ह्यूमन जो जिसमें ना इतना साइज है ना इतनी पावर है क्या वो एक थ्रेट हो सकता है वेल्स के लिए? क्या वो वेल्स को किल कर पाता है? सो आपको डायरेक्टली नहीं पढ़ना है. इट्स अ मिसकंसेप्शन. आपको ये देखना है कि पैसेज क्या एक डायरेक्ट मीनिंग के साथ लिखा हुआ है या फिर एक इन्फर्ड मीनिंग के साथ लिखा है. ये जरूरी नहीं कि हर लाइन में एक इन्फर्ड मीनिंग हो. कुछ लाइंस डायरेक्ट भी होती हैं और ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ प्रैक्टिस से आता है. गॉट माई पॉइंट? Shruti, did you get this, my child? Okay, now the answer, by the time Shruti says a yes, let's see. Massive is huge. So it could be large. It could be strength. Yes. Now let's come to the second one. Power. Can power be grace or weakness? Fragility is weakness. Or can power be vitality? What should the power be? It cannot be cheer. Certainly not. Okay. So is power grace or is power being weak or is power expressing the vitality? The answer is C. It does not express grace. Grace का कोई लेना देना नहीं है with the power the whale has. और उतना power के साथ भी humans उस पे भारी है, humans kill कर देता है उसको. So the answer here has to be C. It cannot be A or D certainly. Got it? Yes. Now guys, before I move to the second passage, there are two things I would like to discuss with you. One, tomorrow is Wednesday and Wednesday to Sunday, I'll be on a break. So I'll not be taking these classes. The series would be coming to a pause next Monday onwards. Okay, so the second thing is about next Monday. Next Monday onwards, I'll be starting off with a new series. Now I see there was a guest session that we had conducted here. And in the guest session, most of the comments that I saw from all of you guys were about that, ma'am, I'm struggling with the English section. I'm struggling with verbal ability. Would you like me to take an overall session where I can help you identify how the entire section can be made into a better one rather than taking individual topics? Do you want me to take overall sessions where I guide you about how to go ahead and how to prepare for the next 3 months and how to improve on the entire verbal ability section? Yes or no? Or do you still want me to take individual topics? Very good, Janvi and Shrishti. Very good. Quickly answer that. In the app as well, I'd like to know your answers. Yes? Okay. So Monday, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please do that right away. Otherwise, you'll miss out on the series that I come up with. 3 classes. I'll be focusing on how do you need to improve the entire verbal ability section. Okay, so make sure you come to the classes and I need you to do me a little favor. I want you to share this video with as many people as possible. Okay, so one session on premise and conclusion also done. I can do that as well, Shruti. I'll do that as well. Okay, let's come to the next passage quickly. But for the next passage, half an hour is already done. चलो जल्दी से कर लेते हैं. Give this a read very quickly. Send me a done when you're done. then break them, always break them into segments. Send me a done when you're done. Done. Cool. Let's move ahead with the first question. What's the answer? What's our answer? Okay. C, B, D. Don't remember? The entire foundation of this whole passage depends on Nathaniel Bailey's lexicon, the dictionary that she made, and every other dictionary was stemming out of her dictionary. They were versions or maybe betterment of her dictionary, but hers was the foundational one. The answer here is B. Next question. It's a very simple one. Exactly, Anushka. It was mostly facts. But there's one inferential question also. Remember that? I'll take you to the passage. 1721, 1731. Technically, I can reaffirm my answer. It has to be 10 years. Yes. Exactly. Next question. Yes. Johnson's dictionary was, now that's an inferential one. What's our answer? B, simplified version. Okay. D, A. Let me take you to the passage again because there are so many answers here. Okay. So the question says Johnson's dictionary was obviously stemming out of Bailey's dictionary only, right? But what happened with that? So here is Samuel Johnson. Through Johnson, okay, here it is. This edition was the basis of Samuel Johnson's dictionary of 1755. It influenced all subsequent lexicographical practice. And Bailey's dictionary was published in 1721 and then in a beautiful volume of illustrations in this. So Samuel Johnson की जो dictionary थी was the basis, and Bailey's dictionary was the basis of Samuel Johnson's dictionary. Yes, agreed everyone? So the answer here has to be a simplified version? No, it was a basis, foundation. Foundation के ऊपर घर बनाते हो तो उसी चीज को और इम्प्रूव करके ऊपर चीजें बनती है. आंसर होगा an improvement upon Bailey's dictionary. It cannot be completely different. It cannot be a copy. It was the foundation. And Johnson's dictionary was made on that. It was an improvement upon Bailey's dictionary. Our answer here is A. Yes? Agreed? Correct. The answer here is A. Let's move to the last question here. Second last question. Inferential one. What should the answer be? D? Okay. We had discussed it. So basically, Johnson's dictionary, which was technically then followed by everyone, it formed the foundation, right? And his dictionary and the name actually became synonymous to every other dictionary. That is, it was everywhere, and dictionary meant his dictionary. Thus, it was the most commonly used one. It was the ideal one. The answer here has to be D. It was not convenient and it was not shortened. It was just, most Englishmen use the word dictionary as a mere synonym for his dictionary. Being regarded as the ideal workbook, it continued to be in common use. That means it was commonly used. It was not the only dictionary. There were many. It was not the oldest. Somebody else's was oldest, right? So it was Bailey's which was oldest. So thus the answer has to be D here. The last question is here for the class. What's the answer here? Super easy. We knew Bailey's dictionary was one of the first few ones, and then there were influences over other dictionaries. Since there were influences over the later dictionaries, for example, Johnson's dictionary and then other dictionaries as well, Frankis's dictionary, it was, okay, so I've got two options here, this and this. An indirect influence or a direct influence. Okay, let's see that. When it influenced, Johnson's dictionary influenced all of them. What was Johnson's dictionary? It was based on Bailey's dictionary. So Bailey's directly influenced Johnson. Johnson's dictionary directly influenced all others. Not indirectly, but absolutely directly. So it cannot be C. The answer has to be B here. Because there's a chronology. Bailey's, Johnson's and then Johnson's, leading to direct influence over all other dictionary. इसीलिए तो Johnson's का नाम बाकी डिक्शनरियों के लिए, डिक्शनरीज के लिए यूज किया जाता था. Yes, the answer here has to be B, my children. Okay, so I hope all of you get all the questions. That's very good, Movis. That's the whole idea. All right. So guys, now that is all for today. Tomorrow to Sunday, I'll be on a leave. I'll not be taking classes on this channel. But I'll come back on Monday with a session where I'll be talking about your weakness in the section and how we can improve that. So, till then, a very, very happy Republic Day to everyone. Eat laddus, celebrate our constitution, take a pledge to abide by it and make it better if need be. I shall see you again on Monday. Have a very, very good week, everyone. God bless all of you.